All right. This is a pretty obviously crazy and interesting time in the market. The market stocks were down tremendously for the first few months of the year. We've had a massive rally back. And, I think what a lot of investors are sort of wrestling with is this question around has the increase in stocks, has the rebound in stocks, is it commensurate with, where the economy and where the recovery is going to be, at least in the short to midterm? So there's obviously a big disconnect in the market. And I think in a lot of investors' minds about what they're seeing in the stock market and what's actually happening in the economy. And I think that was the basis for the article you wrote this week, which was titled "The Balance Between What Is and What Should Be." And I'm just going to read you a quote from the article, and then I want you to talk a little bit about your thought process in terms of writing it and the things that you were thinking about. But you wrote, "The game of investing requires navigating the difficult balance between standing by your convictions and positioning yourself for the way you think things should be, while also recognizing that the way things are and that the market may either take a long time to come around to your way of thinking or not do it at all." So with that sort of a starting point, maybe you can kind of work your way through what you were really trying to address in the article, and then we can get into some of the finer points.
This is something I struggle with a lot myself because I have my own views about the way I think things should be going. And, it's very hard for me to separate those views about the way things should be going with what actually is happening. And, that's a struggle I constantly have. And so I wanted to write this article to give some examples of some things that are going on right now that maybe people think should not be happening. But by the same token, we all have to recognize, although it may not be what should be, it's what is. And it's very dangerous sometimes to take what you think should be happening and sort of sculpt your investment strategy to that, when what's actually happening in front of your eyes is very different. And you cited a good example at the beginning, which is what's going on right now with the market. Right now, the economic situation might turn out to be the worst economic situation we'll ever see in our careers. But by the same token, stocks are are barely off their highs. And so why are stocks barely off their highs? There's probably two things going on. One is we're seeing unprecedented policies from the Federal Reserve, and we're also seeing a lot of fiscal stimulus. So, we're seeing the government effectively throw tons of money at the market right now. And we're seeing the government effectively try to become the economy for a period of time until the economy can get going on its own. And so that is causing all kinds of stimulus where the economic situation is bad, but the stock market is looking to the future, which is the second part of this. The stock market is always a long-term discounting mechanism. And so the stock market is looking out many, many years and saying, well, we're going to recover from this. And, maybe the Federal Reserve can get us through, and maybe, since this year is not that big a part of, if you look at like a discounted cash flow analysis of any company or of the market as a whole, this year is, say no more than 10%, probably more like 5% of the total. So maybe we're going to get through this, and on the other side of this, we're going to be fine. And so although things look horrible on the ground right now, so what looks like should be happening is the stock market should be plummeting. But what actually is we've got tons of stimulus coming at the stock market, and we've got this long-term discounting thing going on that if we do get through this with the policies we have, then, not too much of the value of the stock market is in the current year. Maybe we'll be okay on the other side of it. So it's a really interesting thing, because I'm one of these people as well who thinks, how could we possibly not be down more with what's going on? But what actually is happening in front of our eyes is we're not.